And we are live. What's up, guys? Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday morning live Q&A with Flow MVPs. So I have a few of them with me here today. Why don't you guys go ahead, take about 20 seconds, introduce each of yourselves so that everybody knows who you are before we get started.
Okay. Tell us what order to go in.
Sandy, you can go first.
All right. Hi, I am Sandy Ucia. I am a business applications MVP. Yeah. And I am currently based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I would say my sort of specialty is beginner, like Flow 101 type stuff, getting people interested in learning Flow and Power Apps and from the beginning.
All right, John.
Hi, I'm John Liu from Australia, from Sydney, Australia. I'm a Flow MVP. I'm more of a Flow hacker, I think.
I would say that's probably true.
I would say that too.
Okay, Joe. Joe?
Hello, sorry. I just cut out for a second there. My name's Joe. I'm an automation engineer. I've been starting to get into Flow, and I've been trying to merge the two different things together. And I'm here to talk about anything to do with that, really.
All right, Eliza, we're doing intros real quick. 20 seconds. Who are you? Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, hey. Hey everyone, I'm Eliza. I'm based in Melbourne in Australia. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and my, area of expertise is Dynamics 365/CDS. And yeah, that's me.
Nice. Fausto, you just joined. We're doing intros. You're up. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Fausto here. Sorry I joined a little late. What are you guys doing? Like intro stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Quick intro, 20 seconds.
All right, Flow MVP. Really in love with Flow expressions. So that's my main thing, and currently working on some projects. So I'm just joining for the fun and, you guys. So.
Thanks for being here. April?
No, thank you.
Hey, I'm April Dunham. I'm a business apps MVP. I'm based out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Have my own business, ThriveFast, specialty SharePoint, Power Apps, and Flow.
Awesome. And not last but not least, Ahmad.
All right, you leave the best for the last, right?
That's right.
Hope so. All right, so my name is Ahmed Najjar. You could call me Ahmad. So I'm based in Oslo, Norway. Business applications MVP, and I specialize in workflows, business processes, automation, and cloud solutions. I also work with SharePoint, PMP, best patterns and practices and stuff. So yeah, that's me.
Right on. I have the Flow fam. We try our best to support each other and help each other. And so this morning, I just want to share all of this group's goodness and funness with all of you. And so it's a bit of a just fun discussion. We're going to talk Flow, of course, because that's our thing. But I have like 3 questions that I've come prepared with to kind of prime the group. But what I would love to
which you did not share with us.
Which I did not share, exactly, because I just want us to have a conversation, right? I don't want everyone to be all prepared about it. I just want us to have a little fun. But my hope is that the audience jumps in. We want your questions. If there's specific things you want to know, if there's specific things from a specific person that you want to know, don't be afraid to ask them or just ask the crowd. That's what this is about. We want to help grow your Flow knowledge and understanding. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in with the first question. And it is, we've made the announcements for April release. We did some videos about the new features. There's been a webcast. There's a PDF. Things have already started to come out. What are you guys either A, already excited about that has hit, or what can you not wait for to come in April release? Who's going to jump in first? I'm going to let you guys go ahead, and you're all adults, so speak up.
This is really embarrassing because I totally forgot what was in like some of the pieces that I read. I think that John already agrees because he's laughing, and some other people over here. So,
Right.
So let me rephrase it then. What is the upcoming feature that you know about that you're most excited about? Doesn't have to be an April release. You just, if you know it's coming.
okay, that's better. That's better.
Then because at this point nothing is NDA.
And
right?
that we're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, well, that's the thing. Nothing is really NDA anymore, right? It's all kind of come to fruition. The only thing we can't talk about is post-October.
Mm.
I'll jump in real quick. Okay, copy and pasting flow actions. I mean, that's like a time lifesaver, right? I mean, that's a big one for me.
Yes, absolutely. That's actually Reza says the same one. He's commented the same thing. Copy paste would be number one. That is a big time saver for any of you who build flows already. You will know that as soon as you put anything in a parallel action, or as soon as you start to build anything in a switch, you now have an outrageous amount of actions that you have to repeat. And we haven't had copy paste, but it's coming. And it should be out in like the next 1 month, which
Cool.
is really exciting.
Awesome.
What else? What else are you guys excited about? And crowd, as we're answering, please go ahead and drop some questions in the chat. Doesn't have to be related to April release. Can be about anything in Flow, our opinions, anything at all. Okay, so guys, what's the next thing you're really excited about?
Well, I have something I'm excited about. It's not in the April release, but I'm excited about the next Flow Pro show because I got confirmation last night that Steven Siciliano is going to be our guest and our live guest on April 22nd, and we're going to talk April release notes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So hashtag Flow Pro Show, guys. Steven, the man, the owner of Flow, going to be the guest. That's exciting.
Yep, it is. So that's going to be April 22nd.
Right on. April 22nd. Mark your calendars, people. Hey, Joe, you're new to Flow. What's been exciting for you?
I've obviously started learning, so the Microsoft Learn integration is really something I'm interested in. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got a good question here. We're gonna jump right into the nitty gritty. We're gonna get into the ugly. I like this guy's style. So, Return to Hope Cove, I have no idea what their real name is, asks, do people find the current licensing model a barrier to adoption, e.g., the HTTP call?
Let me start. I'm mainly in the flow space. So for me, most of my flows run as the flow owner. That to me really means I'm really paying for not that many licenses. So I have a handful of P1 and P2. I'm not, so it does not, it's not that crazy from my point of view.
And
I don't know. Yeah.
I could add something to what you're saying, John. So what I know is for those integrations that are not actually that we use the HTTP action for, like for example, when we call graph or we call the other services and apps, those are going to be covered with like real actions within Flow. So it's not going to be a bummer for those who are actually trying to get any data from Graph or getting data from Azure or getting data from other apps and services within the cloud. So at least it's going to be like a short period of, let's say, ups and downs. But once those actions are actually in place, it's not going to be a problem. So basically, the HTTP request is going to be only for those services that you're using outside of your company, or you're really calling an HTTP request outside of the Microsoft apps and services. So I don't think it's going to be a barrier for a long time, as long as you are using the Microsoft ecosystem. So it's not going to be a problem for you.
Right. And if you're calling outside, then that's what the premium was for in the first place.
Exactly. Exactly. That's, I think, the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I can speak to this from Microsoft's perspective, right? So we've had this idea that we give Flow to Office users, right? We love Office. We're going to give you some Flow for the purpose of you being able to extend Office. And I think the misconception is that Flow is a part of Office, which it's actually not. And so that's the first thing you have to recognize, right? Is that we're not part of that Office bucket. You're, whatever it is that you pay for your E3 or E5, that money goes to Office, not to Flow. And so on our side of things, the way we've really seen it is that we give you some Flow so that you can extend Office. But then as soon as you want to move beyond extending Office and you really want to start harnessing the real power of Flow, that's something that should be paid for. And so we've really been of that opinion, of that mindset for a long time. Now this is really us putting into practice that mindset that we've had. And so, hopefully that clarifies it. And to be honest, I haven't seen on my side of things, it's not been a big blocker to adoption. Sure, there's been people who have been used to having that privilege who are complaining that they no longer have that privilege. But I have had not had a single customer come to me and say, "Oh, that's a blocker. Now we can't use it." So hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Okay,
that's a really good clarification, John. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. And hopefully that works for everyone too to help understand. Okay, so let's see. Are there any plans to develop the product to allow it to replace some third-party plugins such as PlumSale, for example, to allow development of flows to set item-based permissions of list items? I guess that's a question for me. So yes and no. So we are consistently improving the flow experience to make things native, right? So previously we didn't have the Word connector. You couldn't do convert to PDF natively. Now that's something that we've built in. And so I wouldn't ever say, oh, it's our goal to like replace PlumSale, right? They're a partner of ours. They've provided amazing value in gaps that we've had. And no, it's definitely not our intent to replace them. Now, it is our intent to continue improving the services we offer. And it's not to say that we might not develop things in the future that overlap with their functionality. But our intent is never to be like, yeah, we're trying to replace this. Does that make sense?
Can I add something? So
sure.
For PlumSale, especially with SharePoint connector, SharePoint has this really open method called send HTTP request to SharePoint. And so with very simple, not very complex expressions, you could do permissions, you could do create folder. And I think coupled with the copy and paste, I could almost imagine someone, maybe from the Flow team, maybe one of us, will publish a mega SharePoint flow that has all your common actions, right? So imagine this one SharePoint flow that has all these actions, maybe all in parallel, they don't do anything. But a power user will be able to go into such a template, copy the specific one, and paste it into their flow. So once that drops in, I will imagine the simple scenarios like setting item permissions, setting file permissions. Those are very low-hanging fruit. I do think PlumSale has some far more complex actions that are hard to replicate in one action. So those will still remain to be very valuable. But that's where I think a lot of the gaps will be covered very quickly as soon as we see copy and paste. So that's just something to look forward to for me.
Nice.
All right, so I've actually picked up a couple of comments, or you could call them questions, so I'm going to answer for some. So Chad is saying that the SharePoint connector needs a little bit more improvements. And I totally agree with that. And these are actually one of the concerns that I actually voiced during the MVP Summit. So we have sort of like, discussions about that, and I voiced my concerns. Some of the things that we've discussed are actually NDA, so I can talk about that. But the things that I think that needs improvement, other than the things that you mentioned, Chad, is not only, flows belonging to lists and libraries, but other stuff. So, and I totally agree. But still, you have a hidden gem, which is basically the send HTTP request to SharePoint, which basically, if you are familiar with the API, you could do whatever you want. I totally understand that you probably need a specific action for each and every thing that you do with SharePoint. Like, for example, create a list, create a library, create a site, or something like that. You need specific things. I totally understand, but you still do that and pull it off with the send HTTP request to SharePoint. So these are the stuff that you need, like specific action. But probably the Flow team have given us a hidden gem for SharePoint, and basically you could do that with this. But you need to have some development skills, and you need to be familiar with the API in SharePoint. The other point that I think that somebody mentioned, the MailChimp thingy. So something I need to talk about, that's something in general that applies to all the connectors that are available within Flow. So some of the actions that probably it could be a bummer for you that you don't find a specific functionality that you used to have within the app or a service that you have. For example, like MailChimp. I'm not really familiar with everything within the MailChimp, but probably you need a feature that is available within the MailChimp or Champ, what's it called? So probably it's not available. Yeah, but you need to have it within Flow. So the problem is it's either two things. It's either that the API itself within the MailChimp is not actually available. So that's the limitation. So for example, if you want to tag somebody from the API in Twitter, that's not available, and that's a limitation from the API itself, not from Flow. So
well, I think I can add a little too, right? Like, if you have limitations that you're running into, but you know the API can do those things because you're doing HTTP calls, then what we need to do is you need to make requests for the connector to change. And so there's some good news coming there. We're actually open sourcing all of the connector base. And so if you would like to contribute to the connector base, if you say, oh, this MailChimp connector sucks and it needs to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and you have the ability to contribute to that connector to build that code, you can now do that. And then the team will take your pull request, review it, do a code review, and if everything works properly, we'll then go ahead and add that to the connector so that everyone else from now on won't have to deal with that.
Right.
So we are addressing that, right? And I will have some news coming about the open sourcing of the connector base very soon. I have some meetings later in the day, actually today, about that. We'll have a new forum to support that. We will have a custom connector piece in the forum as well. We'll have this whole open source connector base. So doing a lot with that to try and really expand our ability there, because we do know that you shouldn't have to resort to HTTP calls. That's our goal. Right? You guys don't want that. We don't want that for you. And so we're trying to do our best here. It's just time is limited, right? And we can only do so many things at once. But I promise we are listening and we're trying to address these things for sure.
That's very cool.
I want to pivot. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think the open sourcing of the connector base is going to be great because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I wish connectors could do this and could do that. And I'm like, oh, this person writes code. Like, yeah. Here, help us out, like make it happen. We want it to work too. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump around a little bit. I have a really cool question here. Where was it? Matt Beard says, what's the best custom connector you guys have ever seen? So John, yeah, go ahead, John, jump in.
John, yeah.
I have a Minecraft custom connector.
That is a cool one. And in the comments, someone said the best custom connector is John Liu's Graph API batch function call.
Oh, that one's good. That's a magic win.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
It's a wishing win.
I would vote for that one. I would vote for that one. That was the best. But I didn't know that you did a Minecraft one. You did. All right.
So the best one I've ever seen is Steven. Steven made a custom connector that connects to our Lithium instance. Now, there's two things to understand about this. The Lithium API is a total piece of shit. And so for him to be able to do what he did with it is quite magical. And so what he did is he connects to their API. He connects to our Lithium instance. He pulls all of our ideas where you go and drop feedback and ideas for new connectors and whatever. He then pulls all the status of those ideas. Are they unmarked? Are they new? Are they planned? Whatever. And then based on their status, the flow builds a web page and dynamically plots those items on a calendar with their approximate completion based on how they're tagged. And so then all of a sudden, like, you can just hit a flow button and this web page is sent to you where all of this is dynamically displayed, created entirely in a flow. It's outrageous. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, let's keep it going. We got a lot of good stuff here. Let's see. Who at Microsoft drives connector development? Is it per product team? Or, for example, I need to achieve things with MS Forms, which I can't as there's no suitable connector. So there is a Forms connector. I guess maybe it's just not, like you say, it's not suitable. So there is a centralized team, and you can reach out to his alias. It's Sameer CH, SAMEERCH at Microsoft.com. That is the team that owns the connector base. They are the ones that are going to be open sourcing it. And so if you have any connector questions, Sameer, SAMEERCH at Microsoft.com is your person to reach out to. Okay, next question. He didn't want to return to Hope Cove says, I didn't want to use the word sucks about the Forms connector. So he said not suitable. That was very kind. That's a good way to put it. Can I pull data from a Microsoft form and add it to a SharePoint list through Flow? Guys?
Yes.
That's an easy one, actually. If you go click on my name here and go to my YouTube channel and go to my Flow tutorials, I've actually recently done a Forms to Flow tutorial that will teach you how to do that exact thing. Okay, how about you guys? So what question would you all throw out for the others on the panel? Anyone have anything burning that you'd love to know from your peers? I wish I had like Jeopardy music. Hey, you know what? We have some new guests, Sarah and Will. Why don't you guys take a second and introduce yourselves, and the rest of you guys think about a question real quick.
All right, on.
Hey guys, can you hear us?
We sure do.
Woo! Awesome. We thought the loud pub music was going to be too loud.
The loud pub music was going to be too loud. I like it, yeah. So hey, yeah, I'm William Dorrington, part of the community on the TDG side and then wider. Down a pub with Sarah. Sarah, introduce yourself.
He's painting a terrible picture right now. We're technically working. We're definitely not down the pub. I'm Sarah, so I lead the UK user group for Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, and get involved in various other kind of random fun things. And
we must admit, it's quite a struggle to hear you guys because of the music, and my speaker doesn't go up so loud. So we assumed you said introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
If not, we've really misjudged this.
You did perfect. You did perfect. I love it. Okay. Ooh, hold on. I got a great question here, guys. We got to hold the phone. This one is specifically for Mr. John Liu. John Liu, what's next for Flow Studio?
Big things. So Flow Studio contains skeletons. I see it as a skeleton framework where I'm hanging functionality as I see them. There are currently about 4 branches in it that has not matured out into a product. There are some code for a deployment thing in there. There's a lot of code for this crazy dashboard that watches all your flows and multiple environments. There is, several major modules. I'm actually, this is important. I'm actually looking for people that want to test certain parts. So contact me if you.
So let's rewind for everyone. Real quick.
I need customers to work with me and test it in their environment, kind of.
So Flow Studio is a tool.
I need guinea pigs.
which connects to Flow, and it adds some functionalities that so far John has felt like have been missing. Many people have felt like have been missing. And so now so go check out where can people go try Flow Studio, John? What's the
flowstudio.app.
flowstudio.app. Okay, so go check out Flow Studio. He needs testers. It's an add-on tool for Flow that helps check like your run history. It can show you all of the connections in the Flow. It shows you a whole bunch of information that the Flow portal doesn't show you right now. There's also, if you want to check out some of the highlights about it, Peter Veenstra just wrote a couple of blogs about it. You can find those on Twitter to check out some of the features from his perspective. But if you would like to get more info on Flow Studio, if you have ideas for John, if you want to test, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat, flowstudio.app. Great question, by the way. Great question. Is it currently possible to build a flow that creates a document set when a list item is created and then assign properties of the list item to the document set itself? SharePoint experts with Flow. I'm going to read that one more time. Is it currently possible to build a flow that creates a document set when a list item is created and then assign some properties of the list item to the document set itself?
I think that should be possible within the API. I've never tried to do that within the send HTTP request to SharePoint, but if it's possible doing that in the API, so it's possible in Flow. So that's I could answer that like this. I've never tried that myself, but I know that you could build document sets from the API. But then assigning that, I don't know if there's something available within the APIs that you could assign the properties to the document set. I think there is. I'm not quite sure because the API documentation is huge.
Yeah, so Reza says it is possible through send an HTTP, and he has a blog post pending for that exact thing.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Okay, so for this one's for me. For John, do you think we have any way to build JSON in Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code and publish to Studio or directly to Flow? The answer is no. There is no plan to integrate with Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. That would be Logic Apps. And
that would be definitely Logic Apps.
If you need that functionality, I would say that is your place to be. Here we go. Geetha says, no, John Liu comes back and says, you can do it through Flow Studio. Oh, just another plug, another reason to go check out Flow Studio. I love it. So see that? We have no plans to do it. If you need it, Flow Studio fills the gap. Check it out. Okay, I like this one from Geetha. The question, guys, is, what are all of your favorite Flow productivity tips? And so I think all of you guys have lots of these. Sandy definitely has lots of these in her beginner material, things to pay attention to. We haven't heard from Fausto or April or Eliza yet. Would love for any of you to jump in.
I like some of the real basic ones, like get a notification when you get an email from a certain person. That's just one of my favorites because I get so many emails on my phone from like 5 different accounts. And this way, if I get an email from certain people that I really know I want to pay attention to, then I get a Flow app notification, and that makes me pay attention to that one.
Okay.
And I also really like the one where you can save attachments into OneDrive or SharePoint, and then they're searchable within SharePoint.
So Geetha, did you mean like flows that make you productive, or like being productive while building flows? Because I'm not sure what she meant by that.
Okay.
I see how you took it. I kind of took it the other way.
I see.
So like for me, I would say productivity while building flows, right? Like make sure that you are renaming your steps. Make sure that you are building in error handling for anything that cannot fail or that you need to know fails immediately. Make sure that you are using switches instead of nesting conditions if possible. Try and build in scopes for grouping and organization.
Try to get introduce yourself with expressions because they could save you a lot of work.
Say that again, Ahmad?
Right.
Try to learn more about expressions because it saves you a lot of work.
Yes, totally.
And
Yeah, I gotta
also
second that.
adding them as comments.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's a good one, Sandy. Fausto?
No, I was just gonna second Ahmad on the whole expressions thing, because you can actually, so for example, like I've seen cases and I've do it myself. I start building, I can use like 3-4 composed actions in it, you know, like with some expressions, and I say, okay, how can I start shrinking all these actions, you know, maybe like into one? So I start testing, going through that. It might look a little crazy at the end, but it's actually, you know, you're just combining all 4 steps into one. And also take your comments, something that I learned from John Lu, like take your expressions, add it as a comment to your actions, so you know what you're working with in the event you need to, you know, change your expression for something, so you know what you have.
Yes, that's a great thing I saw, actually, adding your expressions as comments. That I don't remember who originated that. Maybe was that you, John? But that was
John Lu that started the trend. So I follow the Flow Ninja along.
we all follow the master. Hey, Daniel Christian,
I definitely
welcome,
agree with the. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Sandy. I just saw Daniel pop on. Go, Daniel. Go ahead. Take 20 seconds. Introduce yourself real fast to everybody.
Oh, hey, everyone. My name is Daniel. I am not the Flow Ninja. I am very good at Power Apps, though. I do Power Apps with Flow. But I'm just glad to be part of this community over here, get on this call, help out wherever I can.
So. He's all trying to be humble. Oh, I do Power Apps. Come on, you do a lot of Flow too.
I do Flow, but then when we start talking about Flow Ninjas and everything, then I was like, you know, compared to them, I was just born yesterday. So, yeah.
Humble all the way through. Okay, so what we're talking about right now is tips to be productive when building flows. Anything that jumps to mind for you, Daniel, that comes right away?
Absolutely. When you're putting an expression, copy it, put it on the comment.
Yes.
Rule number 1, man.
Yes.
Do not forget to do that.
So see that, guys? We've now that's the 3rd mention of that. That is a must do for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here. So let's take some comments here. We have some from the audience. So first one, Flow Studio is built by the Flow God. Raisin says his favorite productivity flow is auto-rejecting meeting invites when someone double books his calendar. Ooh, I like that. I might need to copy that flow. That's pretty good. Let's see here. I'd like to take a photo. Okay, here's a question. Return to Hope Cove asked, I'd like to take a photo when kicking off a flow from a mobile device button, but I've not worked out how to do it. Would you rather take the photo, upload to OneDrive, and trigger the flow from that? So the issue with that could be how you're passing the information or where it's trying to go, because sometimes you have to do I think it's a base 64 to URI conversion to get that image data to go across. And so could either be how you're passing the info or trying to be where it goes. So take a look at that. And if you need more help, we can connect on that after. I can help you build that flow.
Yeah, I feel like Dan Christian and Melissa did something on that recently. Right?
Yeah. Do you have a blog on that, Daniel? Or a video?
Yeah, I probably do. Let me quickly find that.
Okay. He'll find it and we'll drop it in the links. Okay, let's see. A couple more comments here. I want one smile from each of you. It's a great day. Okay, ready? Everyone on 3. Let's give a big fat smile for Mr. Smiley. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. That was like a beautiful symphony of smiles. My goodness. I hope that satisfies you, Mr. Smiley.
Were we not smiling enough?
I guess we weren't. We were all chatting, and I thought we were, but you know what? A symphony of smiles in whatever in parallel is beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. Productivity tip number 2 from the audience: create a view for your flow with only columns that you need. After you can use the limit columns by view. That's a good tip. It's a good tip. I like that. Let's see. Here's a question. How can Flow read repeating tables in Power Apps? Can Flow read repeating tables in Power Apps? For my dual experts out there, Daniel, Sandy, April, any ideas on that?
Well, I guess it depends on where that data is coming from, right? I mean, I don't know that you're reading data from the Power App necessarily, but more like from wherever it's actually coming from. I'm not sure what they're after.
Yeah, that's all they said. Hey, Abdu, if you could go ahead and elaborate on that in the comments, we'd love to try and answer that for you. Okay.
So on that question, I've seen this method where in the Power App, the array or the collection in the Power App is split out into a really large JSON string. So there's a lot of string concatenation to get that big flattened JSON. That's because in Power Apps, we don't have a collection to JSON type of function. And then that whole thing is sent as a big flat string into Flow. And then in the Flow side, we can use the JSON expression to resuscitate that into back into an array. So I've seen that method, but it's very tedious.
Man, you guys are so smart. I just sat there and blanked out for like 30 seconds. I had no idea what any of that meant.
If John Liu says it's tedious, then I'm done right there.
If John Liu's saying it's hard, the rest of us are just like, yeah, we're not going to try.
Yeah, we're not gonna try. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's hilarious. Okay.
No, you should always try.
I mean, John, you have to understand, right? Like, you're the wizard, man. If the wizard is saying you can't go, then no one's going.
But I'm saying you should all go, and
okay.
And then we'll turn around and file a user voice to the Power Apps team.
Perfect. Oh, okay. So let's change gears a little bit, and let's actually shift this around, and let's talk about us. So a lot of the people in this chat are MVPs, and some are just bludgeoning Flow users, and others of us are bringing some worlds together. So in your guys' opinion, what is the number one thing that Flow needs in the next 18 months? If you had to pick like just one thing where it's like Flow absolutely has to have this one thing, what is that? And audience, feel free to go ahead and chime in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and pick on somebody to start. And I'm going to say Eliza, since I haven't heard from you yet. If you would go ahead and start that conversation, I would love that, please.
Well, it's actually something that Flow Studio already does. And that's, when you click on the run history, and if you want to see more details about your flow, actually, I can't remember which view it is, but it shows the columns, but it only gives you like minor information such as the date. I can't remember what the other columns are, but in Flow Studio, it provides the information that you're after. And I know this because I had a call with you, John, because John, you asked me some questions regarding CDS so that you could display information that's meaningful to the user, such as the grid of the record that triggered the flow if it was a CDS trigger. Because for me, when you're trying to understand things that have failed, because sometimes we don't have our flows successfully complete, and when you want to find out more information, you generally have to dig within the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then for me, coming from the Dynamics 365 / CDS area, I would like to see Flow integrated with Dynamics 365 for portals. So that feedback has been provided, and I'm excited to see what I can do in the future when that functionality becomes available.
So on your side, it's two things. It's some more details in the run history, what's happening, what has happened, what is this related to, and also deeper connection with CDS.
Yeah, portals specifically.
Portals, yes. I still have to go check out portals. There was a couple great talks at an event I was at recently, and I couldn't attend the portals talk, but I really need to go check this out. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, I've done a presentation that combines portals, Flow, and a particular component of Dynamics 365, which is universal resource scheduling. So it's pretty much an engine that allows you to, I suppose, see what resources are available so that you can allocate them to a specific requirement, whether it's someone that's out on the field or something that's more internal. So the use case I demonstrated was to do with assigning external reviewers to reviewing a grant application. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's available on my YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe, please.
Go check out Eliza's YouTube channel. Eliza, go ahead and drop that link in the chat so people can check that out. You got to get subscribed to her channel. She's awesome. She does not only tutorials, but unboxing and some vlogging, and she's just super cool. You definitely should go subscribe to #WTF, what the flow. Okay, who's up next? What is the feature, the one feature, Eliza cheated and said 2, the one feature that you need in the next 18 months in Flow?
I have one.
All right.
Better expression builder. Like bigger IntelliSense, different, not the tooltips hiding the expression when you type on them, just a better experience there. I think that's part of what makes people think expressions are hard, because they're hard in the UI.
Yes.
They're not hard for real, but...
Yeah, John is really excited. I just saw the comment that Joe posted. That I'm actually, that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, aside from the whole like copy and paste actions across the board. I mean, don't get me wrong. Last week or the week before when we were at the Power Platform Summit, I did a live demo, and and I'm glad it worked out pretty good and everything. I guess I already had it nailed down, but even being on a big screen, you could see, just the little gap. And don't get me wrong, like the inline helper, the inline help helps a lot. Sometimes it just blocks everything and it makes it a little bit uncomfortable. So hopefully, I don't know, they do something like the editor that Power Apps has. That would be something, that you can just like stretch up and down. That would be like extremely helpful, and you'll be able to pretty much just read everything properly as you go in, or if you need to go back and check out an expression that you built like 6 months ago because you forget what you did, kind of like when you do coding. So
hold on, guys. So we just went from like one small box to several small boxes. This is not good enough, huh? No.
John? Hey, John.
Yes.
No, other John. Ninja John. Sorry. I remember John showed me how he hacked his browser because he was annoyed with the small width of where you enter your expression. So I was like, hey, how'd you do that? And he was like, I hacked my browser. And I was like, oh, okay. Not for me then.
Of course he did.
I sent all the code to John. But John, you need to learn some JavaScript and just kind of commit it into the source branch. And then we're all set.
Just sneak into the engineering room at night and make commit.
I have a new strategy. I'll send them to Stephen, and then maybe he'll tell his guys. I don't know.
Send them to Raj if you want.
Raj? Okay, got it.
You send it to Raj.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. I see a lot of totally agree with Sandy. Second and third, what Sandy is saying about the editor.
Sorry.
It was like a fairy song or something like.
I thought maybe it was magic time or something.
Yeah, it's just the commercial came on. I was trying to open to see the comments, and I forgot to mute my microphone, and the commercial come out on the YouTube channel. So
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So then, lots of agreeing with Sandy. We see need ASAP copy and paste and peak code. The flow history could be much more user friendly. How about building out flow governance documentation? Ooh, this Return to Hope Cove person. You should message me and tell me who you are in real life. I like your comments. You're saying a lot of good things and challenging questions, so I appreciate that. But I'm actually working on this right now. So I brought this up in a meeting yesterday that we don't have a great governance document. And so my plan right now is actually to work with Kent to produce that document and have Microsoft in conjunction with Kent work on a document like from full front to back governance. This is how you govern these things. This is how you roll them out. These are your concern points, and this is how you work around them and all that goodness. So that'd be funny if that was really Kent. John, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that would be great. But yeah, so that's coming. That is definitely something that we recognize there's a gap in and that we need. Okay, next up, who's got a feature that they really must see?
I'll jump in real quick.
Okay.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay,
April, go ahead.
so yeah, I'll echo Sandy's expression editor. Yeah, definitely. The other one I want is a native graph connector, Office graph connector.
So that is actually in the works.
Yeah, I know it's in the works, but yeah, if in the next 18 months, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Okay, good. You know what, April? I love your expectations there, and I'm pretty confident that we as a team are going to be able to deliver on that.
You know, April, a lot of people are waiting for that graph connector.
Yeah.
It's not only you.
I know I'm not alone. I'm not alone in that.
I think you should ship it in April. Yeah.
The graph connector. So graph team.
Birthday present here. Yeah.
If you guys are listening, the people want it. They want it fast. So if you guys can do that, you'll make a lot of people happy. All right. Who else do we have? Daniel, Christian. We have not heard from yet. Yes, sir.
So anybody who knows me knows I come from a SharePoint background, and if Flow is truly the successor of SharePoint Designer, then I need something similar. I need to see Flow history tied to that SharePoint list, the same way I can see, the SharePoint Designer over there. And I need more direct relationships directly tied to that SharePoint list, such that I was able to see right now through SharePoint Designer. So I know there's SharePoint people on this call or on the chat, and they love me. I feel it. So yeah, there needs to be a little bit more deeper integration. And this is not just from the Flow team. This is deep integration with the SharePoint team. So you guys need to, get together. Don't take off the gloves again. Put the gloves back on, and make some friends, but kind of move forward with it, because they're two big products, SharePoint and Flow, and then be deep integration between the two.
Some info on that. Audrey has joined the Flow team. I think everyone kind of knows that at this point. Not sure if you haven't heard. Audrey is now.
Audrey and me are not friends anymore. She left Power Apps, and so not.
Hold on. You might not want to say that yet.
Okay.
So Audrey is now in charge of the partnership between Flow and SharePoint. And so she will now be working with Chax to bring Flow and SharePoint more together. And so this kind of feedback about what you need SharePoint to do in Flow, Audrey is your new point person to deliver that feedback to. So you could still be friends, Daniel.
Gotcha. Yeah. Everything I said was just a reaction to a medication I took. Sorry about that. It's all gone.
It wasn't true. I take it back.
It wasn't me.
He just hasn't had any coffee today, so it's okay.
Exactly. See,
we gotta send him a few Starbucks gift cards so he can.
Austin, he's always got my back. Always got my back.
I love
Thanks,
it.
Foster. Jokes aside, though, there just needs to be a little bit more deeper integration because it's heavily utilized on the SharePoint side. We just need some heavy. I mean, I personally, I think Flow from the get-go is really good from SharePoint perspective. There's been massive improvements on that, but we just need a little bit more deeper integration between the two products.
Totally agree, and definitely something that we are committed to and working on. And it's interesting, you know, because I think that people on the outside, they kind of get this blinders view of Flow, right? The SharePoint people think of Flow as like, oh, this is the replacement for SharePoint Workflow Designer, right? This is my tool. But then it's interesting because you also have the Dynamics people that are like, wait a second, this is the replacement for Workflow, right? And then they have their view of it. And then we on the Flow team are like, yeah, we're giving some to SharePoint, we're giving some to Dynamics, but then like we're also trying to make all this independent value for Flow, right? And so I think that it's very interesting for us on the inside to try and prioritize, you know, where it is that we're putting effort, because our team is actually much smaller than a lot of the teams around us. We run a lot more lean, and so we have to be very choosy on where we spend our sprints. And so not to make excuses, but just to give an inside view that you might not see. We tend to have a lot of these competing priorities, right? Because there's SharePoint who wants things, there's Dynamics who wants things. We're building CDS natively and trying to partner with all that and figure out what the relationships are between Dynamics and CDS, and then keep Office and SharePoint happy, and then build an independent business. And so I just say all that to give you a bit of inside perspective about we are absolutely focused on all of those things. And improving all of those experiences. And yes, we are the replacement for SharePoint. And yes, we are the replacement for Workflow. And also we're trying to be the glue for everything else. And so I think, you know, for me, I think the next 18 months is really exciting. You know, the inside view and looking at how the team is growing and how the team is talking about this all. It's really, really exciting. We're going some very cool places. I think the product is now reaching some maturity. And the excitement is huge. As I'm traveling around the world and meeting with people, the thing I am experiencing time and time again now is just hype. Like everybody is just hyped, right? Like Joe is sitting here in this conversation from, like, we had a conversation a week and a half, 2 weeks ago at a table in Amsterdam. He had never touched Flow. And now his name is Flow Joe, and he has a YouTube channel with like 3 or 4 videos already. His Twitter handle went from 0 followers to like 60 followers in a week. He's right. And so like this is what I'm so excited about. Is it's accessible, it's easy, and it's exciting. People are getting on the wagon and seeing the power of it all. And so what I love is all of you guys asked for things that are coming. No one said, "Oh, I need this thing," and it's not on the list. Now, if Serge or Daniel were here, they would have said State Machine just to bust my balls a little bit, because there's still not a plan for that at the moment. But there's patterns and there's workarounds, and there's, you know, we're trying to empower those types of things created by you guys to help us get around things like that. One final question that I saw in the comments a while back that I wanted to address is, I made a promise last year at MVP Summit that we'd be moving to 90 days Flow run duration, and that is something that we still have not completed. And unfortunately, that one is a bit out of my control. I have been pushing and saying that we have made the promise publicly and we need to do it. There's still some internal discussion about what that looks like. And so if we do go to a 90-day run duration, it might be a P1 feature. And so I just want to go ahead and put that out there, that we are still looking at that. We're just trying to decide where that lands. And most likely that 90-day run duration will probably land in P1. And so just want to be transparent about that, since I made that promise and I have not been able to keep my word on that. And I have been called on that here publicly. I don't want to shy away from it, and just let everybody know that that's where we're at. Okay, so we got about 5 minutes left. And you know what I want to do is I want each of us to just give a shout out. I think that this is a good way to end. Call out just one person in the community that means something to you. Either they've taught you something, they've been a great student, coachable, they're leading in some area. Just show some love, and let's call some people out, because I like to give public love and let people know that they're doing a good job. Ahmad, I'm going to put you on the spot, man. You go first.
All right. So there's a lot of shout outs I'm going to do here. But the first shout out goes out to you, because we're the Flow Bros. A lot of things that we've done together, sessions, videos, and there's still things to come. And that's a big shout out for you, bro. And the second shout out is actually for Serge. I've been doing also a couple of sessions with him. I'll be doing another workshop with him. I did one in Amsterdam last year, and we're doing another one in Wiesbaden in Germany, and at the European Collaboration Summit. And I really enjoy working with Serge. He's amazing. He holds a lot of knowledge. He's also come from both worlds, Flow and SharePoint. And I want to give a big shout out for everybody in the community, in the Flow community, everybody here on the call, or whether they're not on the call, they're all like a family to me. One last shout out. So there's going to be on the 24th of August, there's going to be a Power Platform Summit in Oslo, Norway. Big shout out to Marius, who's actually the one organizing this in Oslo. So you guys, if you don't know me, just follow him on Twitter. He's CRM Viking. And follow him. He's actually just posted the call for papers over there. And if you are like in Europe or outside of Europe, you're welcome to come. And probably
drop the link in the chat, and I'll paste it in there for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll be holding a session there. I don't know, like session or a couple, I don't know, but probably a session. And that's all. Thank you very much.
All right, April, you're up.
Okay. Well, obviously everyone on this call, on the Flow fam, Melissa Hubbard, she couldn't make it, on the call, but she, kind of helped me get started in Flow. So I got to give a shout out to her. Reza, who I think's been in the chat a lot. Like I was just at SBS Houston. He had a great demo of using Flow to, automate SharePoint site scripts. So he's pretty awesome with Flow. So those are my shout outs. Yeah.
Right on. Daniel Christian.
Let's see. Honestly, right now, the one person I can think of who's been helping me a lot with Flow is actually Fausto. He's just because of our time and we both work on the east side. He's something I can just ping immediately and say, hey, Fausto, man, I just got stuck over here. I need another pair of eyes to take a look at this. And even if though he's busy and he's already got his mind focused on somewhere else, he can at least point me in the right direction. And 99.99999% of the time, he's right. So yeah, I mean, he's just my brother from another mother. Yep.
Nice, good job, Fausto. Eliza.
Hey. All right. So from the Dynamics 365 crew, I would like to call out, several people, and that would be George Dubinsky, Jerry Weinstock, Auntie Natraj, because whenever I have problems, like we have a group chat, and I know that I can always go there and talk to them, and likewise they ask me questions as well. And then from the non-Dynamics 365 space, it would probably be John. Like John, I constantly have like personal chats with him, like on the weekends. And John usually just helps me out. And so I actually called John Liu my Flow guardian angel because, yeah, he is. So thanks, John. This is for you.
The wizard, the ninja. Fausto, you're up.
Okay, I'm off of mute. So first thing, every single one of you, you guys are awesome. Everybody's awesome in this group. You guys are the main reason why I'm here. That's the first one. John, Levesque, thank you for organizing all this stuff. You're really awesome. Third, to Daniel Christian, I send that back to you, bro, because like I compliment you with the Flow and then you compliment it with the Power App. So that stuff that you helped me with the other day was really amazing. So I got to work. So thank you. And lastly, to our new team member, Joe. I know we only got to hang out like one day in Amsterdam. I wish we could have spend more time. But I like what you're doing. You're going in head first, doing all this stuff. I still haven't gone through your videos. I started watching your Selenium test, but I want to get more into that because since I also do development, I like to see all the code and everything. So just keep doing, just keep doing what you're doing. We're always here for support. So that's it. And also, Sarah in the back. So hi, Sarah.
All right, Joe, you're up.
I would like to give a big shout out to you, John, because if it wasn't for you and I didn't meet you, then I wouldn't have known about Flow. So that is my big shout out there. But everyone in the community, really, I mean, I've gone through so many blogs, gone through so many posts, seen so much great innovation in the community. It's just amazing. So I'd like to really give a shout out to everyone that's out there getting to know Flow and learning. So it's a really great community, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Right on, right on. John Liu, you're up.
I want to give a shout out to a few Australians here. Of course, all of you guys, but also Paul and Ashley Comsey in Perth. They've been really busy, but really, we're on different sides of Australia. It's almost like East and West Coast, but we talk a lot. So Paul and Ashley, and also to 365 Bruce, who runs the Power Apps and Flow user group with me in Sydney. So he's been a great help, and it's going strong. I think we just had the 3rd meeting. I'll just leave it at that. I'm sure I forgot a lot of people. Thank you all that supports Flow Studio.
Yeah.
Tell me your problems. If you have praises, you should tell other people. If you have problems, you should tell me.
I love it. I love it. All right, Sandy.
Well, obviously everybody, and especially you, John, for bringing us all together as a family. That's really cool. But if I have to choose one, also I would choose, I would say Peter Veenstra. He's not on the call right now, but he is like blog master about like picking through little things in Flow and blogging about the different connectors and just issues he's having and stuff. So I can only hope someday to be able to blog like Peter.
Definitely. Sarah and Will, you guys want to shout out anybody?
We have a few people to shout out. Will, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'd 100% echo Anti, as Eliza said. He's a machine. When does that guy sleep?
Yeah,
I just think he's permanently awake. It's weird. We need to talk to him about that. And then another shout out would be Elaine Yu. She's unstoppable as well. She's not only good with her tried and tested video that she does, where she starts introducing. I know it's a lot around power ups. I know she's big on Flow as well. But apart from that, she's also very good at enabling others that may not have the confidence to come out in the community. So where she'll get a lot of people sort of speak to her and them saying, oh, I'm not really sure about blogging. I've got something to share. Do you want to share it on behalf of me? And she's like, no, man, but give me it. I'll publish it for you. And she'll just push it out, get it out there. And I think that enabling people is such a strong, positive thing. Empowering others is something very fun, and everyone should do it, as you all do.
Like magic.
Absolutely. And my last one, although there's many more, would be Rory, actually, because he does the most amazing videos. And what he does is we do all this complex stuff, and we love to see complex stuff, passing JSON here and there and back into collections, all that fun stuff. But actually, back to basics to allow others that listen to these sort of calls that we do and go, I want to start, but I feel silly asking those silly questions around, hey, how do I just input text and how do I create a collection? Rory nails that straight away through a video, and he enables others to get involved, and that's what we need. So hey, enough of me. I'm sorry, I've drunk all the coffee.
Yeah,
I've drunk all the coffee.
So stoked.
Go for it.
We are definitely not drinking beer. Right? We're not drinking beer. We are only on coffee. We promise. So I want to shout out to Manuela Pitra. So she's part of Virgin Atlantic. She's like amazing. She's been presenting for less than a year, and she rocks it. Absolutely like a boss. She's amazing. Lucy Muscat, same. She's actually starting a Bristol user group. She is amazing. Again, she's not been in it, like she's been in it about a year now, but she is an amazing presenter. She did an amazing Dynamics 365 marketing comparison at the CRMUG Summit recently, so that was awesome. And yeah, I mean, I echo completely Will, and also just the general Flow family. You guys are amazing. I love being part of you guys. I have so much love for you. You rock. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, and I'm going to close it up with a couple more. One, I want to give some love to Anton and Vivek, the Power Addicts. You guys are outrageous. I love you. Please keep doing everything you are doing. You guys are killing it. I love the energy. I love the enthusiasm. I love the passion. But most of all, I love the empathy. You guys just love on people. It's more than just teaching people. It's beyond that. You guys are loving people, and that is awesome. Next, those Dynamics guys, the whole crew, you guys are just my favorites. You're wild. You are passionate. You are unstoppable. If every community person was like you guys, like we would have 1 billion people. We'd have the whole planet. Like your passion is contagious, and I love you guys to death. And then last but not least, my entire Flow fam. You guys know who you are, the ones that are here, the ones that are not here. You guys are the reason that we're here. Like, you guys are the lifeblood. You guys have been the center of this thing from the beginning. We keep growing the fam. But all of you guys are the reason that Flow is what it is. You're the reason that new people come on and find the information they need. You guys are it. So from me, so much love to all of you. Thank you guys for joining me today. This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again in a while. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.